The Bravia Chaimite, also known as the Bravia Mark I 4x4, is truly an iconic vehicle. It has been a consistent feature in nearly all books, articles, and documentaries about Portugal's recent history because of its role in the Portuguese colonial war and the Carnation Revolution. Today we're investigating the Chaimite, a type of Portuguese commando. The Chaimite embodies the spirit of April 25th to such an extent that a retired unit still bearing military registration has been a staple at anniversary parades. Designed and produced for the Portuguese Army's combat needs in Africa, the Armored Personnel Carrier, or APC, also attracted many foreign buyers. Essentially, the Chaimite is a modified, unlicensed copy of the Cadillac Gauge Commando. Not only Portugal but Guatemala and Mexico also developed their own copied version of this US vehicle. After all, the story of the Chaimite began when Portugal requested the USA to acquire the Commandos. Although helicopters proved highly effective in counterinsurgency operations during the colonial war, the Portuguese army still needed armored vehicles for escort, reconnaissance, and support missions. Since the number of armored vehicles in Africa did not exceed 57 in 1964, and these were either inadequate or outdated, Lisbon sought to acquire 50 V100 Commandos in 1965. Nevertheless, Washington was reluctant to be seen as a supporter of a country that was opposing independence movements in its African colonies and declined such a deal. However, during the First Cold War, it was not difficult to find a backdoor for a country fighting against communist movements. In 1967, the Portuguese managed to obtain a V100 through illegal means along with two Cadillac Gauge employees who brought blueprints of the vehicle. They established Bravia SARL for the design efforts of the new APC called Chaimite. Lacking a manufacturing facility, this company signed an agreement with Surfame for production as a subcontractor, which specialized in building locomotives and carriages for the railways. The first prototype of the Chaimite was completed in 1967. However, its development was primarily driven by an urgent need rather than a long-term plan to establish a national military industry. During this period, France was also willing to sell the proven AML, which the Portuguese army also successfully utilized in combat. Therefore, as the end user, the army had concerns about whether the Chaimite could effectively fulfill its assigned missions in Africa, whether production would be timely, and whether proper maintenance would be ensured. If doubts arose, it would naturally prefer to invest in the best performing alternatives available. To address these concerns, the prototype was sent to Portuguese Guinea, now Guinea-Bissau, for combat trials in 1968 or 1969. After proving its effectiveness, Surfame began production of early models of the Chaimite. The first units were delivered in 1970, with the initial batch dispatched to Portuguese Guinea in January 1971. Final assembly was subsequently carried out at OGME, a factory of the Portuguese army. Eventually, when Bravia established its own factory, production was transferred there. The Peruvian Naval Infantry was the first foreign buyer of the Chaimite, acquiring 20 vehicles in 1970. 2 years later, Lebanon ordered 30 APCs for its internal security forces. However, only 21 were delivered due to the outbreak of the Civil War. In 1980, Lebanon acquired an additional 10 vehicles. In 1973, the Philippine Constabulary became the third foreign customer, ordering 20 Chaimites. After 13 APCs were delivered, the Philippines cancelled the order. In 1976, Libya ordered 60 vehicles for the Presidential Guard. However, due to political reasons, only 13 or 16 were delivered. The only serial production version of the Chaimite is the V200 VBPT. VBPT stands for Viatura Blindada de Transport de Pessoal, meaning Armored Personnel Transport Vehicle. Although it looks identical to the Commando at first glance, both designs also show noticeable differences. The Chaimite features a longer rear engine compartment that inclines downwards. The top of the hull does not slope from the front of the rear wheel alignment, which is a contrast to the Commando. Additional differences include variations in front strap and handle details, mirrors, headlamp models, and arrangements, as well as provisions for the trim vane. Between the crew compartment and the side doors, there are two vision blocks and firing ports on each side, unlike the Commando, which has only one. The driver and commander sit at the front, each with their own vision blocks. They also have a vision block on each side. This setup provides them with a wide-angle view, enhancing situational awareness. Thanks to three firing ports, one between the front vision blocks and one on each side, these crew members can use their personal weapons while under armor protection. The troops can embark and disembark from the Chaimite through three doors, one on each side and one at the rear right. In a typical operation, the commander leaves the vehicle with the infantry. Each side door features two sections. The upper section opens backwards and the lower section folds downwards to create a step. Separated from the personnel compartment by a fireproof bulkhead, the power pack is situated at the rear left and comes with a fire extinguisher that the driver can operate. Originally, the Chaimite was fitted with a 210 horsepower Chrysler V8 petrol engine. Starting in 1985, 82 Portuguese vehicles were refurbished with diesel engines, and their manual transmissions were replaced with automatic ones. Additionally, improvements were made to the APC's axle locks and the axle shafts were strengthened. Portuguese military reports on the vehicle were generally positive regarding its reliability, despite its excessive use in Africa. However, it was also noted that the Chaimite's semi-elliptical springs occasionally broke under heavy loads and the clutches deteriorated. Later, during peacetime use, Portuguese army mechanics complained about the poor durability of the brake blocks, brake rubber billows, and axle shafts. The Chaimite features an all-laser welded ballistic steel hull with thickness ranging from 6.35 to 9.35 mm, providing resistance to 7.62 mm NATO munitions. Combat reports from Africa and Lebanon generally provide favorable assessments of its ballistic and mine protection. Early Chaimites used in the colonial war were equipped with the 7.62 mm HK-21, the squat machine gun version of the G3 assault rifle. This weapon performed poorly, leading to later models being fitted with one-person turret positioned immediately behind the driver's and commander's position. It could be armed with two machine guns, either a combination of different calibers or both of the same caliber. Operated manually, the turret had a depression elevation range from -15 to +50 degrees and could rotate a full 360 degrees. Some Chaimites used by the Peruvian naval infantry also had an 82 mm B-10 recoilless rifle mounted on the top right of the turret. Later, nearly all operators replaced the turret with a pintle-mounted machine gun. The troops can use their weapons while protected by armor thanks to 8 firing ports, 2 on the left, 3 on the right, and 1 on each door. The Chaimite features a hydraulic winch at the front with a maximum towing capacity of 4,530 kilograms. Air conditioner, fire extinguishing system, explosion detection and suppression system, 60 mm smoke grenade launchers, and passive night vision equipment are optional. The 3-person crew of the Chaimite consists of a commander, gunner, and driver. The vehicle, which can also carry up to 8 infantry, has a length of 5.61 meters, a width of 2.26 meters, and a height of 2.26 meters. Its combat weight is 7.3 tons. The 155 horsepower Cummins V6 turbocharged diesel engine provides a road speed of 100 km per hour. Its range is 780 kilometers. The Chaimite can negotiate 0.9 meter vertical steps and 0.8 meter trenches. It is amphibious with a water speed of 9 km per hour. Bravia produced a single prototype of Chaimite's non-serial V300 version for light fire support missions, equipping it with several turrets featuring 20mm cannons. The company also integrated the S503 air defense turret with two 20mm Oerlikon cannons on the vehicle. The non-serial V400 heavy fire support variant was also equipped with the Macaw turret, which included a 75mm gun, as well as a Hispanisuiza Lynx 90 F1 turret with a 90mm gun. Later, Portugal acquired some Commando V150s armed with a 90mm gun. Some sources mistakenly refer to them as V400. The Chaimite also included V500 communications and command, V600 mortar carrier, V700 anti-tank with a swing fire or odd missile launcher, V800 ambulance, and V900 recovery vehicle variant, none of which ever entered mass production. On the other hand, the V200 has several modified operational variants. The Portuguese Marine Corps used the V200 Armada 90 armed with an 88.9mm multiple rocket launcher. The Portuguese Army employed the V1000, an anti-riot version with a water cannon, in Bosnia and Herzegovina. Despite Bravia designing dedicated V700 and V600 variants for the same missions, during the modernization in 1985, several V200s were converted into SS-11 anti-tank missile carriers and 81mm mortar carriers and were renamed as VBPLM D4x4 M6787 V200 and VBTP 81mm D4x4 M6787 V200. Additionally, the company considered developing 6x6 and 8x8 models, however, production of these prototypes never materialized. The Chaimite was baptized with fire even before it entered mass production. As mentioned, to address the Army's concern, the first prototype, fitted with a 90mm low-pressure gun, was sent to Portuguese Guinea. Although the vehicle initially performed well there, insurgents later managed to destroy it with a Soviet-made rocket-launched grenade. Then, the serial production APCs arrived and were mainly used for armed escorts on routes. Until 1974, Portugal lost 2 Chaimites. The vehicle also saw extensive service in Angola and Mozambique, but fortunately there were no reported losses during that time. The Chaimite played a significant role during the Carnation Revolution on April 25, 1974 and became a symbol. After a long peaceful service, they were deployed in Bosnia and Herzegovina and Kosovo during the 1990s and 2000s. In October 1996, a Chaimite was overturned on patrol in Bosnia and Herzegovina, resulting in the tragic loss of 2 soldiers. The Portuguese Marine Corps retired the vehicle in 1995, followed by the Army in 2016. When the Lebanese Civil War erupted, the Chaimite initially served with the Internal Security Forces. During the Battle of the Hotels in 1975, alongside M113s and Panhard M3s, they successfully evacuated over 200 people from the hotel districts in downtown Beirut. When the government collapsed, local militias took control of some of them. They fought against the Syrian army during the Battle of Zahlet in 1981. Eventually, the Chaimites were restored to service within the Internal Security Forces. The Philippine Constabulary employed its V200s to combat the separatists in Mindanao during the Moro conflict. Libya donated a V200 to the Palestine Liberation Organization, which the Israel Defense Forces later captured in Bekaa Valley in 1982. The Libyan Chaimites, some of whom are armed with the Type 63 rocket launchers, have also participated in clashes during the ongoing Libyan crisis. As mentioned, the development of the Chaimite was mainly driven by an urgent need rather than a long-term plan to establish a national military industry. Lisbon supported neither the vehicle or Bravia with a firm policy, although the company had enough ambition to continue. This initiative resulted in a limited number of production runs and semi-successful foreign sales. Nevertheless, the Chaimite has earned a place as a legend in the history of Portugal's military, industry, and democracy. Thanks for watching our video, and please don't forget to subscribe to our channel and click the bell button to be notified of our new videos. Also, you can now click the join button to support our channel. And as always, we would greatly appreciate all of your likes, comments, and shares.